To get a reliable earthwork volume for the pond model, it is important to have an accurate boundary that defines the limit of the surface. Earlier in this workflow, an automatic corridor boundary was added to the pond surface. This boundary, however, was found by overlapping vertices that resulted in the boundary being masked or excluded from the surface. You can see this in the pond model if you zoom into your drawing. Notice the pond surface extend outside of the corridor daylight line. To resolve this issue, you can either sketch a polyline manually to define the boundary or extract a 3D polyline from the corridor model. Select the outer feature line from the pond corridor. Then in the corridor contextual, select extended launchpad panel, select polyline from corridor. This will add the 3D polyline to the drawing. To add the polyline to the pond surface, you'll need to edit the corridor surface. In the corridor surface dialog, Boundaries tab, remove the automatic boundary, as this was causing the masking error in the surface definition. Add a boundary using the polyline option. Pick the 3D polyline from the drawing, then click OK to update the corridor. Notice after the corridor finishes updating, the surface will update as well and no longer extend beyond the corridor limits. With the pond model complete, you can calculate the earthwork volumes. To calculate the volume, you can use the volumes dashboard. You can use the sample lines or you can use the composite volumes tool. For a simple and quick volume result, we'll use this composite volume tool. To use this composite volume tools, type report at the command line. Then select report surface volume from the filtered command list. In the panorama, composite volume tab, create a new composite surface. For the base surface, select the existing ground or starting at the condition surface. For the comparison surface, select your pond model. The cut, fill, and net volumes will be immediately reported in the panorama. If you look at the net volume, you will see how close or far your pond model is from being a design. The excess fill in this case is the result of rounding up the berm elevation when establishing the pond feature line. To better balance the pond earthwork, you can adjust the pond's feature line elevation. Using the elevation editor, you can see the elevation that is currently assigned to the pond's outer berm. This elevation was rounded up to the nearest whole number. To better balance the pond model for this course, you can lower the berm feature to more closely match the optimized elevation. After adjusting the elevation, dismiss all of the open tabs in Panorama. Editing the pond feature line will require the corridor to be rebuilt. Use the contextual menu from the Perspective tab to rebuild the corridor. After the corridor finishes rebuilding, you will notice the former's boundary is no longer valid. Using this pond modeling workflow, you will need to replace the former boundary with a new boundary. When added to the corridor impact the daylight feature line. Remove the former polyline from the drawing and create a new one from the corridor model. Once the new boundary has been extracted in the drawing, you'll need to add it to the corridor model. Open the corridor surfaces and on the Boundaries tab, remove the old boundary. Once the old boundary is removed, add the new boundary to the corridor. When you are all set, click OK to update the corridor model. An important note, if you still have problems and your surface rejects boundary, try sketching the boundary manually. After the new boundary has been added to the pond surface, you can recheck the earthwork volumes. Type report at the command line, then select report surface volumes from the filter tool list. Create a composite volume using the existing surface as the base and the dry pond as the comparison surface. Notice the difference in net volume compared to previously. Now that your pond is sized correctly, earthwork volumes are in check, your pond design is complete. To learn how to add a spillway to your pond, continue through the final videos for this course.